to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George.
Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists. We are back on our franchise stuff this week and for the next month and a half with Alien, the whole of the Alien franchise. I'm very excited. We are starting with the first movie, titular to the entire franchise, Alien. Mm-hmm. It came out June 22nd, 1979, written by Dan O'Bannon and story by Ronald Shusett, directed by Ridley Scott. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And obviously, 2025 has treated me very, very, very well as the podcast is concerned. I found a way to make sure that we cover everything that is my favorite. We got Mission Impossible in before we got to the gay movies, which is my favorites for a whole other reason. And now we're getting to the Alien franchise. We're covering Twin Peaks on Death by Television. We hit Andor with Season 2's release earlier this year. I've been getting spoiled, and I'm very, very happy with it. But Alien holds a very, very, very special place in my heart. I adore this franchise. Probably even more than I do Mission Impossible. And everybody, if you listen to our Mission Impossible coverage, you know how much I loved that. But when it comes to this movie alone, we're talking a top 5 favorite ever for me. I know this was a second viewing for you.
Yeah, I think so. At least that's all that's on Letterboxd, is one before. And that was it. So I do think that's true. I think Aliens is maybe the only one I might have seen twice. But yeah, this one only a one-time viewing over here.
Gotcha. How'd you feel about Alien on revisit?
Oh my God. I in my head, I think because we did Aliens for the 52-year journey. I think that's why I was thinking I might have watched Aliens twice. Is I might have revisited it. But I thought that even after I watched Alien, that I liked the second one more, or at least that's what I thought. At least where my head was, I don't know, but I don't know how I thought that. Least maybe it's more of the mother and daughter, and it's more of like the human story. But I think I just didn't really pay attention to like the human story that was in this one close enough, and all of the different themes that were kind of going on with kind of the sexual and kind of breeding or just kind of birthing or evolution. Sexual assault. There's a whole bunch of there's a lot
going on here. And I mean, frankly, we hand this franchise over to some fantastic filmmakers. James Cameron does Aliens. David Fincher does Alien 3.
Damn.
Nobody gets it like Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott does this, Prometheus, and Covenant. Those are Ridley Scott movies, and
so he returns for
yes,
Prometheus.
He does.
That's
he
cool.
returns 32 years later, 33 years later to do Prometheus, 35 years later to do Covenant. It's nobody gets it like Ridley Scott does. He's just got this shit down, and I think that what I love about this, in contrast to Aliens is, and we'll obviously talk about it a lot next week, it's a lot more palatable to a lot more people. The emphasis is on action, adventure horror, as opposed to sci-fi horror.
I see.
And I think that the sci-fi horror of it all in this makes it all the more icky. If that makes there's like a grotesque, there's a grotesqueness to this movie, and like a slimy, nasty feeling that Aliens doesn't have. Aliens does feel a little cleaner, and that's gonna sound funny whenever we watch Aliens next week, and it's inevitably slimy and dirty and stuff, because that's just how the xenomorphs present. But I just, the crew that we've assembled here, it doesn't get better than this. When it comes to Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, Ian Holm, John Hurt, Yaphet Kotto, Harry Dean Stanton, come on. Like we're cooking with absolute gas with a crew like this, and I love that we don't necessarily. I love that they're not a family. I love that they are coworkers and they like treat each other like coworkers. It's all under the guise of we work for a company. We work for a company. This is a job. We're going off on this. I don't know. They obviously go to sleep for a while. They don't have to experience all of it, but I'm assuming a couple years journey. And it turns into a lot more than that for Sigourney Weaver, for Ellen Ripley. But she ends up going to sleep for 50 years before Aliens. Oh
damn! Is that wow? I guess
Aliens
I didn't
is
really...
set 50 years later.
Wow. Okay.
And they find her on that shuttle that she goes to sleep in this movie. At the end of this
okay, so it's like a like a cryo.
Yeah, hypersleep. Yeah, she doesn't age 50. She just falls asleep. Yeah. She gets frozen, and that's it.
Wow. I guess even seen it. Yeah, I guess I'm not too up on the lore really at all. I just kind of know, like even of the second movie, I feel like I'm gonna go in pretty blind because I'm trying to like. I remember the kind of last or the last battle with like the Mecha power suit.
Bitch. Yeah,
like that. That's pretty memorable, and that's always stuck with me. And then just kind of protecting the little girl. I forgot her name. Yeah, Newt. And just kind of the whole movie felt really good. That's all I really remember. So I mean, like,
that's fair, And I mean, another interesting thing timeline wise is that Romulus is set between this and the next movie. There's also that. And Romulus I only watched once in the theater, so like I remember there being like a whole drop with the CGI reanimated Ian Holm character in Romulus, where he's actually talking about the company's motives and everything, and they had a whole plan, and it actually ties to Prometheus and Covenant to some degree, which are set before this. It's a pretty expansive. Wow. It's a pretty expansive timeline and lore, set of lore here, and I love the design. I love everything about the way things look. A lot of it's inspired by H.R. Giger, who did a pretty famous book called The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon? The
Necronomicon.
I thought that was like an ancient, like, wait.
Nope.
Or am I thinking of like Marvel? That's just a
sci-fi.
Or like
well, no, there's the Necronomicon has been kind of spoofed a little bit into being something older than it is. Like the Book of the Damned in Evil Dead is supposed to kind of be like a Necronomicon sort of thing, and all it is really is just a bunch of artwork and designs by H.R. Giger. Which is what alien, like the literal design for the alien is from the Necronomicon. The design for the ship. The ship that they find the eggs on is all from the Necronomicon. Like there's all it's all a lot of the aesthetics. Is source
material.
There is a little bit. There is a little bit, and I mean Giger is just a unbelievable artist. It's just the kind of melding of the space jockey, the figure they find in the chair. That looks like it's been grafted to the chair is kind of like key Giger sort of stuff.
Dude.
Yeah, big ass dude.
That's and that ship, like looking. How did I not notice the first time? It literally there's like two doors that look literally like a womb and/or vagina, and then it's just
all
ribbed
phallic.
The whole time.
It's all
it's like
vaginal. It's all psychosexual.
I was wondering, I'm like, okay, I'm coming hot off Pride Month, watching these movies. Is that why my brain is primed to pick up on like male,
that's
this
purposeful.
Male kind of, like just smothering and like fat, I don't know. Because even the Xenomorph, like I've always just thought of it as, this crazy, fucked up looking monster. But even it's like, its always wants
like
to like, yeah, it's like it literally dicks you to kill you. I don't know, just wherever it wants to. It feels like it can eat you in the stomach. It can just it can dick you in the mouth. But then it's like, oh no, I'll actually put my tail up your wherever happens, whatever happened there, and rape you before it kills you. And like I don't know how I thought they were just kind of gross deaths before, but I really didn't pick up on like that. The Xenomorph is actually kind of like. It's kind of what they're after. Like it almost
feels like a kink.
Yeah, and they know, like, I think the perfect example is where, what's the crew's name? Let's see. It's Parker and Lambert.
Brett. Lambert. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
Lambert's
whenever
the chick, yeah.
Yes, and she, Lambert's just kind of frozen and she can't really move or do anything. And Parker's like, you gotta move. Like, I have to shoot this thing or else we're going to die. Like, you have to move. But the xenomorph, or like the alien, like, it knows this. It knows that, like, since these humans have emotions, obviously Parker's not just gonna fry Lambert as well.
Right.
It's just standing there knowing this, like, playing with them. Like, and it's like, I don't know, it's much more, intelligent than I once thought before.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was just a monster just out to kill and just going off like kind of base instincts, but maybe it is just its base instincts, I don't know, but it feels like
I think it's why they've managed to pair off the Predators and the Alien franchises a little bit, like they are, like the way that Ian Holmes' character Ash puts it, they are the perfect organism, their purity only matched by their hostility. Like they are killing machines, but it almost feels like it's a. And even all the time, even the couple times I have watched the franchise all the way through, it's not something so simple where you'll be like, oh well, obviously they just like this is why they do it. This is why they do what they do. It is just there is element to it where they are a wild animal to a degree, and but they're hunting. They're not defending themselves necessarily. Like they want this. This is what they live for type shit.
Yeah. I guess that was the only difference I think I remember in Aliens, is that the mother was kind of like protecting her own.
Yeah, she was protecting her horde, as it were.
So, and that's kind of not counter theme to the xenomorphs, but at least as far as Ash thought them to be, completely devoid of emotion and just pure raw survival sort of thing. But the protecting your own, I guess, is I don't know. That's the first time that it's not quite like that. And I wonder, like this, I don't know, the company, I guess, they seem to know quite a, I don't know, or at least that's their goal. They don't give a fuck about the humans. They don't give a fuck about the crew.
Not one bit.
They want the crew to get incubated, or kind of like a thing. And I wonder, like, because Ash, knowing that he is an android, or the whole time, knowing that he isn't a human, the whole movie, the first time, it was an epic twist. And whenever that, like, it was, I'm like, man, this dude's just kind of weird, or what's off about him? I couldn't quite place it, but then he does that
the
thing
reveal
at the beginning
of the movie where he, like, runs in place
and
stuff.
He gets his motors fucking going or whatever. Yeah, the fucking, and then, but watching it this time, like, it would, I don't think like a performance nod for the whole movie, but it was at least the performance that I was noticing the most, because I just knew the reveal and I was watching every little thing he was doing see,
even
like,
right before John Hurt, right before the famous chest burster scene, whenever they're sitting there eating food and Ian Holm is just watching him, like Ash is just looking at him like,
yes, it's like a scientist just taking in all the data, and that's all he cares about. And it feels like he was sent by the company. Right, like he wasn't on his own initiative. Like, he isn't just an android,
he
whatever.
For
so
the company, for sure.
So he's sent by the company. So, like, the company programmed this into him of, like, just watch and just observe. But he also has this sexual something urge to him as well. Why would he sexually assault Ripley at the end? Like, why he doesn't just try to kill her like that. He
tries to shove a fucking magazine in her mouth.
And I guess, like, he might not have a dick, so, like, he could have, like, that could have been what it was going through his head of, like, he wants to sexually assault her, but he can't because he's an animatronic and doesn't have a dick. So this is the closest thing, is like just a magazine rolled up. I don't know.
It's a power thing, Like, I do think, I don't think his express motive was to sexually assault her. It was to assert his. Well, no, I'm because of the movie and because of the psychosexual nature of it. Yes, that is the tone it takes. But I do think in Ash's mind, it is about asserting his power over her.
I see.
And the way that
but not
manifests itself in this movie is a rapey scene.
I see.
Which I mean, I think it's interesting to think about the fact that Ash is programmed, you know, he is gendered, you know, also like he thinks like a man, which I think is interesting.
That's true. That's why I think at least the point I was like, him coming from the company is that it's just the company's programming in him that brings it out. Like, it's all of just the, you know, we don't, I guess, I don't know, maybe they dive into who the company is and all of that sort of stuff more. But, like,
Wayland,
I feel...
Yeah, it actually gets a name later on. It's no longer just the company.
Okay, good. I kind of like that because it feels like they... You know, the xenomorph is, if you look at it on paper, like, oh, that's the bad guy, or that's the villain of the movie, but it's like, well, it's actually Ash. And then it's like, well, no, it's actually the company, in the grand scope of everything.
Yeah, the xenomorphs end up just kind of being a weapon. You know, like or a resource that they're trying to mine, almost. You know,
like the xenomorphs, I guess, like they're just an alien creature that happens to be like the perfect human killer, you know, sort of thing. And then like, don't kill them because then your spaceship is done and good luck. I don't know, like the acid blood, everything about them is just perfect counter to human sort of thing. But it's the company wanting to go out here in the first place. At least it seems like they know that they're there, which is kind of weird and crazy that they even know of them in the first place. But that they want to like activate this. They want this to happen. They like knowing that if it goes to like their plan perfectly, like this alien is brought back to Earth. And then Earth is done. Like, I don't like. It's just that they take over. It's like if one makes it back, it's over. And so it's like is that the company's goal, is to like actually just fucking rid humanity, or were they just dumb enough and thought that they could control it?
I think that's the idea, is that they have the hubris of a multi-trillion-dollar corporation that is under the impression that if it's under the sun, they can control it. And you know, Weyland-Yutani is what the company is called, Weyland-Yutani, and they're a little bit. I mean, they're evil. They're just they're the company, you know, like as they put. That's why, like, I appreciate in this movie they don't need a name. It's just the company. Like, you get that this is an at its heart, an anti-capitalist story, which is kind of hilarious. You know, like we get the commentary from Parker and Brett about not getting equal pay, even though that they're we get a automatic class set up with the underdeck crew and the upper deck crew. You know, like there is there's something already built into the structure of the ship and something built into the structure of the crew that automatically makes you go, okay, well, they're all pawns, but even in their setup, they have a hierarchy.
Yeah. And it just makes them have the illusion that they have some power or something better than someone else. So I don't know, be okay. And the company, but the company, I guess I really hope is kind of, maybe it's not explicitly shown, but at least the theme of it, that it's like it's the true root kind of, like just the greed and kind of the whatever they thought could have happened. Because I wonder how much like Ash, he says he admires the, you know, like they're perfect. Right. They are like, and it makes sense for him being artificial and and then seeing a creature that can like make new versions of itself with like, I don't know, like and just become better over time. I feel like it makes sense.
That's why I do think, you know, earlier when we were talking about Ash's motivation in the scene where he's attacking Ripley, I think he's doing his best to emulate them, not a human. Like, he is doing something that a xenomorph would do, not necessarily what the company has taught him to. Like, he's almost learning from them a little bit, and he's just not capable of doing what they do. But that's kind of how, like, because he immediately is like, I admire them, you know, like, immediately after that, whenever he's like a severed head, which is a great effect, by the way. I love. He's full of cum. In case you needed more psychosexual stuff going on, whenever just one drop of white liquid trickles down his cheek and stuff. Yeah. No,
and then it's everywhere, and it's as everywhere. He's dying, you just hear like the noises that dude is making is crazy. I don't know, was insane,
criminal,
and but then just got his head whacked off. But yeah, him being like you have my sympathies at the end. You know, he's like purely mocking them, and I think like it does play into like trying to be the xenomorph. Like he is trying his best to be a xenomorph, even whenever he's just an animatronic and whatever. But the one thing I did pick up on is that he drinks milk the whole time. Like homie's downing milk.
Is it
like
all
the
milk
whole time
inside him?
That's what I'm wondering. Is like when he's dying, is this just the milk that he's been drinking to act as a human, sort of a thing? And like it's not actually some I can't remember in Romulus if white fluid, like I was trying to think if like
there is
white blood
fluid
or white
in
fluid.
The aliens
okay, and the
one that's in Aliens, because that
do
one
they
gets
have a
ripped
name
in
for
half.
them?
Yes, they do. I can't remember what it is right now. We
Oh,
learned it in Aliens.
Yeah, I know, it's bugging me. It's like a oh man, it's just a quick word. It feels like, and anyway, but Ash was at least a really cool. Like Ripley and Sigourney Weaver is kind of just the highlight of it all, no matter what.
Yeah.
But with the rewatch and knowing Ash's storyline, it was just really, really cool to pick up on his little things throughout the whole movie. And I think it's like it was
Synthetics,
the first,
by the way.
yeah.
Synthetics.
Synthetic.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, the synthetic white blood, I guess, is actually for real. So it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe in Alien, I'm gonna be watching. Maybe in Aliens, this is what they just do to fit in. They just drink milk.
Yeah.
They think it's the most human. Kind of a Homelander or kind of a sexual thing
there's
drinking
more,
mother's
there
milk
is more
or something.
Of that. Yeah, there.
Okay.
Mother being the ship and an AI
true.
and all of that. Like there's there's plenty. There's a lot going there. But yeah, you're right about Sigourney Weaver, Ellen Ripley. She is the highlight.
I mean,
there's no other option, and that's what I was watching the movie kind of through the lens of trying to focus on other people this time, just because she demands your attention. Like there's nobody else that like whenever I was making the edit and promotion of this, it was hard for me to not just make an Ellen Ripley edit. You know what I'm saying? Like I kept forcing myself to include other people. But so like one of the things that I really wanted to key in on were the other performances in this movie. And Ian Holm, you were right to go to him kind of first. Underrated for me is Yaphet Kotto. Parker. I fucking love Parker in this movie.
Yeah.
Parker is there's a lot of character built in through his performance, whereas the others, I feel like there is just kind of like they're performing what's on the page to a degree, and they're
kind of just another member.
Yeah,
they're kind
like Tom Skerritt, he does a really great job as Dallas. I love him as Dallas, and Dallas is he's level-headed, he's cool, he's the captain. He's gonna do what's got to get done, and he's always that way. There's no moving on from that. John Hurt is an intelligent guy. He gets killed off within the first half of the movie, so like there's just less of him.
What a way to go!
Lambert is anxious, scared. Like that. She's always kind of on the edge of her seat. That's kind of how she is the whole time. But when it comes to Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton as Parker and Brett, they get to have some fucking fun. And I adore their just the way they kind of carry themselves. There's a point in the movie very early on, whenever they're having the meeting about the signal, where they enter the room like, let's see what these motherfuckers want now. And he walks up to Ash and he's like, hey, you're sitting in my seat, buddy. Any chance you can get up? And Ash gets up and he wipes off the seat. Like that's not, I doubt that's a stage direction. I doubt that's in the script. I feel like that's an actor choice going, what?
Fuck fuck this is icky. He's corporate, white, icky. I don't know, or all the above. Just get out of just like this. He's Ash. Just kind of was clearly a non-human. I don't know, but from the jump.
Well, there's actually a line in the very opening whenever they wake up and they're all sitting around the table and their voices are overlapping and stuff, and one of them goes, "I feel dead," and then Parker looks at Ash and goes, "Anybody ever tell you look dead, man?" Like.
Damn. Yeah, Ash. He's I don't know, bros. Just it makes me. I guess I am trying to differentiate how much it's just Ash's own directive versus how much the company is has a handle over him. I don't know how individual synthetics kind of are.
Don't think. And this is, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to give you a little hope here. This is something that the franchise deals with eventually. This is something that we will get into a little bit. Now, when it comes to this movie in particular, a lot of that, I watched the first half of the director's commentary by Ridley Scott last night and a little bit this morning. Unfortunately, didn't have time to finish it all, but I got plenty of insights where, like I said, he did Prometheus and Covenant, which are prequels. It's very clear that even in 1999, when the commentary was done, 20 years after the fact, he didn't have any of that planned. He's like, yeah, okay. and he's like, don't ask me why this works this way. He's like, I don't know. And eventually he comes up with something for it. But I'm assuming that there is at least seeds of an idea. But when it comes to Ash in this movie, I get the impression that there's obviously a certain degree of individuality. There's a certain degree of him having to make the choices he makes, like attacking Ripley the way he does. But I think almost all of his motivation is company based. I think that all of what he's doing, I don't think he's doing it out of his own curiosity. You know what I'm saying? The moment he lets them back onto the ship, that's because that's what the company wants. That's not because he's like, I'm just kind of curious to see how this works. No, they need the alien on the ship, so we got to get the alien on the ship.
He was even kind of waiting to see if Ripley would let them in on her own first.
Yeah,
he was
do
like,
it
please
for
just do it. Please. He's like, all right, fuck, whatever. I'll open the door. He's like, all right, well, it's got to happen anyways. So it's
right.
Yeah, it is very clear that he is on, he has very clear directives or that he has to follow. Just getting a xenomorph back onto the ship, I guess. Right. But the if the company's goal is to capture this thing and to have it I don't know. It was maybe the goal is just to have it on this ship, and so it can't get anywhere, and that they just know this ship would be overtaken, sort of thing. Right. But you would think if the goal is to capture and securely not have it infect anyone else, that you would actually send not what seems like a grunt group or a low class I don't know why. It's because at least the mother room where that computer is, it's so much more advanced than everything else everywhere, I don't know, on the ship. And maybe that's just to be well, it's the AI, it's smart, it's mother. It has to look a little more complicated, but it feels that this crew was just expendable and that it was more of well, actually this crew they could live, actually, but more of they were hoping they would die or be more infected. Sort of thing.
I think that when it came to, Emily asked me this question while we were watching it last night, which was, if their mission was to capture, if their mission was to go get one of these things, why wouldn't they just send 6 androids?
To not even have the threat of being infected.
To not even have the threat. And my answer at the time was that it's just, it's less expensive. It's less expensive. They are more expendable than the synthetics. The synthetics cost more, therefore they're more valuable to them. There's a chance that they all get impregnated. And then they have more xenomorphs. It's just all these things end up adding up to the the idea that they end up again, I think it's hubris on the company's part to think that the humans won't fight. And even then, I think that they think the xenomorphs are just going to kill them. Like there's no competition at hand here.
Because I was thinking, like, at least Ash is so just on the data collection mind that's all he cares. He's just like, well, let's just see what happened. Actually, who cares? Let's go on the planet. Let's bring it back in. Actually, let's leave it on his face for a little bit. Why don't we? And sort of thing. So it feels that they just kind of maybe it is that they don't know, and it is just like, well, what would happen if a xenomorph interacted with a human? Right. It's like, and it's much easier to have it happen on the space, to not be your own people, whatever, just these expendable crew. And I don't know, because this, I guess, fear of being impregnated, as a man, it's
right.
I don't have that fear walking around the earth that I live on. But then the instant that it's like, oh shit, of like some, and obviously like if it's not like if a woman gets pregnant, it's going to be a baby eating out from the inside and blah, killing the mother.
Right,
it's not like that, but it did kind of wake me up to that thought of just kind of like oh damn, like yeah, once you are pregnant, your body is different, like forever.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like that is a crazy change, and like just
it does fundamentally change your chemistry. Yeah, and that's I do think that there's obviously plenty of commentary in the movie about the forced impregnation, of the face huggers and everything, smothering somebody until they are pregnant, and then they are violently violated. Like that's it's pretty on the nose, and I think that I think it's handled with a lot of really, really impressive effects work also. The chest burster scene is unbelievable, and frankly, the look of the face hugger is crazy. Like on his face, like
it's so gross. It is so. That is the I usually don't get icked out or don't have nightmare fuel from like creatures or anything horror. It just kind of gets me. I don't know. It gets my fake adrenaline boosting in ways that nothing else can. But this face, the idea of something that just wraps around your face, it claws onto your head, you can't even get it off, and then it chokes you, and then it's also just shoving a whatever the fuck it's called down your throat and that's it's impregnating you through your mouth or through the foot. It's like no, and then to have the visual of the baby popping out, and it's like it's like, well, that isn't the xenomorph that is like Kane's son, like, which Ash says, which is like a fucked up thing to like as a human. You're like, well, no, that's that's just another one of the. But it's like, well, it got me to
that's
think.
What's super interesting about the face huggers in their relationship to xenomorphs is that like the eggs.
Oh, they're a different
eggs
species?
Don't birth xenomorphs. Xenomorphs are a result of facehugger and human interaction, I think.
Yeah. It is just the facehugger that comes out, and then the xenomorph is what is born from Kane. That's true. It isn't just an evolution
it's not a xenomorph
from
the get-go.
Because the facehugger's dead. They dissect that thing. They oh shit.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm curious if a facehugger latches on to, say, a predator. Like from the Predator franchise, do you get a Predator-esque xenomorph, or is it like
no? Yeah. Okay. I can see where maybe Prometheus is going. I can see the lore implications.
I've connected the dots.
These things. But man, no, the design of all these things, I mean, is, I guess, maybe coming from the Necronomicon, which is cool. That's crazy.
Super cool.
That's
cool.
awesome.
But I mean, like, they did have to bring it to life from a page, so it's not exactly one-to-one all the time, and the way that they, like, that's just a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
The xenomorph. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's
like, that's an incredible costume, and I think that one of the most beautiful parts of the movie, whenever it comes to the design work, is the little baby alien that bursts out of John Hurt's chest.
Yeah.
Cool behind the scenes story there is that none of the crew, and I mean the crew in the movie, Sigourney Weaver, all of them, they didn't know what was going to come out of him. Or they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. They just knew that like they were shooting a scene where the alien's born. Let's see how it happens. So John Hurt, whenever he flails on the ground and then the first and like the blood just kind of seeps onto his shirt and they all just kind of pause for a second and look at it. That's them all going,
That's like,
yeah. And then, yeah. And the way that they set that up, like it's a fake torso, a blood-soaked shirt, John Hurt's actual head coming up through the table, kind of looking like it's connected to it. So like he's and his arms are actually flailing about and everything. Like it's a really incredible setup. And then they shot the alien through the shirt. And the way that they did it is like they just soaked it in blood. So like that's why the first thing is just blood, so that it was easier to get through.
Wow, that's awesome. It's just it feels like the more icky it could get, they just put it in. Like it was because even every time anything would come out of the mouth, they always like had this goo or this. It was wet. It was always like even
water
the baby
that's just constantly
like. The baby makes sense, It's like it was just born, and even our babies, they come out, I don't know, with all this weird goo shit on them,
blood,
whatever. Yeah, it's all just nasty. But it's like, but even just the full xenomorph, it's always just icky. It's always
it's always drooling, Like there's there's a certain.
Man,
there's a certain connotation to that as well.
I didn't even think of the like. Is it like? I thought of the xenomorphs as like a completely different thing, but it feels like it's actually just is it the worst of the human thoughts that are coming out, sort of a thing.
Right.
It's like taking all of the good out of a human and just making it this pure death monster, instead of. Yeah, because
and imbuing it with alien DNA that makes it impervious to attack a little bit, because like at least as far as this and Aliens is concerned, the only way we kill aliens is or xenomorphs is by ejecting them into space. There's not really
can only get rid of them. You can't kill them.
You can't kill them. You could just make sure that they're not near you.
Yeah, I guess only if you're in space, If you're on a spaceship, it's very bad for anything to be hit with acid, you don't want a vacuum hole. But if you're just on a planet,
you should be able to shoot these motherfuckers.
Yeah. So I guess it's only because they're in space. So I really don't want one to get to Earth, because it feels like if one does, GG sort of a thing.
Yeah, I can't wait for the new series coming August 12th titled Alien Earth.
So that feels like that's really scary.
Yep.
So that
apparently that's set before this also, which is interesting.
Oh. Very interesting. The lore is getting very interesting. I didn't really have much interest in the lore. I thought I would get there when I got to Prometheus and Resurrect is he comes back for Prometheus and Covenant, and those are the prequels.
Right. And Resurrection was in 97, I think. So it's like 18 years after this. The first four movies, the first three movies are really like a trilogy of movies. And then the fourth one is a resurrection. Like they're like, let's go ahead and revive.
Let's bring it back.
Let's go ahead and bring it back. And then that movie was pretty universally not well acclaimed.
I see. And
which is
all right. Bring the OG back.
I cannot blame people for not thinking it's good. I can blame them for not thinking it's fun as fuck. I love Resurrection. I have such a great time with that movie. Watch that movie stoned out of your mind. It will be great. I promise.
Hell yeah. Then I will love it as well. I'm already in. If it's hated.
It's also got Winona Ryder and Ron Perlman. Let's go. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, so... And then obviously there were the Alien versus Predator movies that kind of came between Resurrection and Prometheus.
Yeah.
So those were the only things kind of keeping the Alien franchise alive for a little bit until Ridley Scott decided to come back. And then Covenant flopped at the box office. Disney deaded. It was going to be a trilogy. So Covenant.
Oh wow! The start of the trilogy.
It was going to be Prometheus, Covenant, and a third movie. And then. Disney didn't want to move forward, or Fox, 21st Century Fox, which I think got bought by Disney around the time, and then all that good stuff. Just kind of deaded it on arrival, and then they revived it again for Alien Romulus. So it's seen its fair share of deaths and revivals,
yes,
or resurrections, if you will.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Nice to have kind of all the bearings for the whole franchise now.
Right.
I kind of and yeah, the lore, I don't know, implicate. I kind of thought of them as very singular kind of movies, even with this kind of lore, which is a cool background thing. They all don't really seem to kind of I don't know, like need to build off of the last one.
No, and they don't really. It is fascinating that like it's not until Prometheus and Covenant that you really get a sense of them being like, okay, now let's really think about how all of this connects. And everything else is just kind of happenstance. Like the universe that's built is just sort of like it is a little Mission Impossible-esque. Aliens doesn't concern itself a great deal with what happened in Alien, aside from it's like the literal events. It's like, this happened on this ship, Ripley survived, now we gotta go fight more aliens, and she's like, you're fucking stupid, why would you find more aliens, that's so dumb, like it's and then that whole mission goes. Alien 3, you will see, it completely ignores the events of Aliens.
Okay.
It doesn't give a fuck about what happened in Aliens. and
yeah,
and you'll see what I mean when we get there. I'm not going to spoil that or anything, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. And Resurrection, I'm not even going to begin to explain to you what that is. So like it's just like they are completely disconnected for the first 4, and it really isn't until Prometheus and Covenant that they start to go. And even then, it's really only connecting to Alien, and then it's kind of like everything happens after that, like it is kind of interesting the way that Prometheus, Covenant, and Alien kind of ended up being the trilogy as it were, which is a funny way to put it. But
so did Ridley, like, what was there any books or anything that he based anything off of, or like just kind of art from the Necronomicon is the only?
It was just kind of art,
source?
and Dan O'Bannon was actually the writer of the film. And he was just kind of a pulpy sci-fi writer who came up with this idea.
Wow.
And was like, this is good stuff. I think we should figure this out. And Ridley Scott was the one who happened to direct it. This was Ridley Scott's second movie.
Damn. Holy
his
crap.
His next movie would be Blade Runner. So he did a pretty great
Run.
Yeah, he did the thing there for a second. Still does, and he's like 90.
Yeah, this it feels like it's meant for a book, or kind of like sci-fi. It feels right, books, or whatever. But I don't know, sci-fi to me, it's like it's not what movies are only meant for, but it's just a perfect, like, you can't do sci-fi like I don't know, like anywhere else, like a movie, like if it's done well.
100%. Like I've read a few great sci-fi novels. Like there are genuinely incredible sci-fi books. But a faithfully adapted great science fiction book as a movie is going to be better as a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just so much.
I guess there's Dune. It's like it's kind of a give and take.
Even Dune,
it's what you
lot of people regard Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of Dune as better than the book Dune. And it's some of that is due to Frank Herbert's kind of prose style. But the thing is that when it comes to science fiction, it's so expository. You have to explain so much.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Whenever you can just show somebody without writing 2 pages of explaining what they're supposed to be looking at or thinking about, it automatically is going to play a little easier.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I think this movie works so well, is that you can turn your brain off and just be like, all right, it's humans surviving and trying to escape scary monster, and that's a good enough movie as it is. Like, it's every horror slasher. This is up there with any horror slasher that I've seen.
This is fundamentally a slasher film, which is incredible. And then you have this entire psychosexual madness of science fiction going on top of it. and it's all the better, you know. Like I remember when we covered Sunshine, one of the movies. This was the movie I kept coming back to as being like, this is a fundamental influence on Sunshine. Like there's no way Danny Boyle didn't watch this and then go, I'm going to make Sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fundamentally a very similar movie.
Oh, I mean, like just how creative to give it acid blood so that you can't just kill it. Like it's like like any other monster. I guess like it's like Michael Myers is like, well, you can kill him, but he's actually immortal and he'll just actually come back.
Just keep living.
He'll just come back to life. You can even cut. It doesn't matter. So it's like they just have to come up with some excuse of being he's just a paranormal whatever. But this is like it's not even paranormal. It's not even like a just they just won't die. It's like, well, you could kill it, but like you actually don't want to, and it makes
you will be sacrificing yourself. Yeah,
and it makes it, I don't know, so much cooler. I don't know, it just adds this other dynamic to it, and it makes whenever Ripley is like starting the self-destruct sequence, like she's like crying, she's like realizing, she's like fuck, she's like, oh my god, like this is the only way to do this. It's like I can either blow everything up and sacrifice myself and know it's done for sure, or I guess just keep living because that's what humans want. I don't know. It's like she's just on her survival instinct. And
one of my favorite moments, like one of my favorite human beats in the story, is whenever Dallas goes into the mother paneled room and he asks, you know, how can we kill this alien? And they're like, don't have enough information. Can't compute. Doesn't compute. And then he goes, what are my chances?
Yeesh.
You know, he's explaining his plan. I'm going to go into the air ducts. I'm going to do this. Am I going to live through this? You know, and I love that he, like, even in spite of the fact that it comes back with can't compute, don't know. He's like, I got to do it. Well, and that's what makes Dallas a real ass motherfucker, bro. Like I do fuck with Dallas heavy. I think he is a genuinely good captain. You know, he's the first one to go in there. He's like, Ripley's like, I'll do it, and he's like, no, you won't. I'm gonna do this shit. It's fine. Don't worry. And I think that there's a really interesting dynamic between Dallas and Ripley. Like there's an obvious mutual respect there where that doesn't really exist between any other members of the crew besides maybe between Parker and Brett.
Yeah. And it feels Parker and Brett, they're like, are they the only two that are kind of on the lower kind of a class?
Yeah.
Or like is Lambert, I don't know what Lambert, if she kind of has a higher up kind of position or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
she's in the cockpit. I feel like she's like a navigator or something.
Yeah. It feels like they have that hierarchy in the ship themselves, and they're the lowest of the hierarchy. So like just the most, even more human than the people who are higher up. Not to say that Ripley and Dallas don't have that.
No, but
they're
they
so
are.
Human,
they're the everyman for sure.
And they, I don't know, just have that kind of, the higher up you are, the more disconnected you are. It's not like on a degree of actual, I don't know, global scale or anything, but I think on this microcosm, it kind of does show that like the lowest faction of the crew is actually the most human, or the actual most, because you're right, like they're the two actual characters of the crew, other than Ripley. All the other people are just kind of there. Like they're
archetypical, like they are just kind of they do things that like that character would do this. You know, one of my favorite things about Parker and Brett is that they are right all the time. They're always correct, and they're never listened to. You know, Parker going, why don't you just freeze him?
Yeah, and that's
freeze this motherfucker. Like let's not even fuck with it. Put him in a goddamn pod and let him sleep it off. The fact that they all this is one of those just kind of like, wait, what are we doing here? They all just immediately ignore the quarantine whenever John Hurt wakes up. So funny to me. They all just go, let's go see him.
You're okay. let's have a chat. Oh, let's have a dinner all together. Actually, let's all have a.
It's back to the Freezeritos, as Harry Dean Stanton's character says.
Yeah, it's breakfast. I guess they just always have cereal. Is that the only?
It's always breakfast or Chinese food, which is incredible.
Wow, that's all. I mean, in space, that's better than our astronauts are actually eating. So that's
not powder.
Fair enough. And they can smoke cigarettes in their ship. That's like a big fire. They get flamethrower. I didn't even think about that. They have flamethrowers. They have the capability of having a flamethrower inside of a spaceship. They got tech.
They've got it figured out. They've got it figured out in there.
They're chilling. So
yeah, no, it's but that whenever, like, it's a funny meta commentary. Like, the only thing that Brett says is right.
Right.
He's all right. He's always right. Like he's like they're all right. And he
yes.
I love whenever he's that part whenever they are kind of poking fun at. Anytime he says something, you just say right. He just goes right, and then he looks up at Parker and he like winks at him and stuff. Like, it's so funny that they are smarter than anyone else is willing to give them credit for, and they steer into that. Like they go, like whenever Ripley comes down there and like they're talking to her and they're fucking with her by making sure that the gas is pumping and shit. And then she leaves and they turn it off and he's like, God damn it. He goes, what? So like, I love that they are also a little bit like they are, like, they're everymen, like they are just dudes. So yeah, like whenever it comes to like beyond Ripley, my favorite element of the movie is Parker and Brett. I love them.
Yeah, they were chill. Yeah, Brett going off to find Jonesy.
I mean, I'm just a massive fan of Harry Dean Stanton. Like, he's an incredible actor. You would have seen him. He'll be in Twin Peaks: The Return and Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me when we get there.
Okay.
He was in The Straight Story, another David Lynch one. He was in The Avengers.
Avengers.
Yes,
really?
he was the janitor who finds or like someone who finds Hulk when he lands on the ground, and like he's like, yeah, you should have like you weren't wearing any pants or something like that. Like whatever he says, he's just like one scene. The legendary Harry Dean Stanton is there for a second. Paris, Texas, incredible film. Incredible performance in that movie. Yeah, he's been around the block and he's done a lot of incredible stuff, and him kind of being just a everyman fun guy in this is great. I love Harry Dean Stanton. So. Jonesy. Yeah, I love whenever he's like, hey, here, kitty. He goes, all right, enough with this kitty crap. Yeah. Jones. Yeah. It's Jones, so funny.
Where are
I
you?
love it. Where are you, Jones?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess
underappreciated.
Then
he goes, meow. And the cat goes, meow. And he's like, oh shit, it worked. I love that shit. And
then yeah, the xenomorph just, I guess, just kind of chilling there. Kind of made friends with the cat, it seemed, It was like, it went face to face with the cat.
Yeah, almost like the cat isn't worthy of killing.
Yeah,
like
because
there's
it's
almost
not afraid. It's like
it's not afraid. It's also not a threat. Like the cat can't do anything to him. So there's a little bit of a. Like, that's why I do think there's an element of the hunt is its own form of self-defense. Like, it's going to kill you before you can kill it.
Yeah.
And I think that...
luring? It lured... oh my God, that's why. It actually left the cat alive so that it would get Brett or somebody to go look for it and get them on their own so that they could just have an easier kill. Maybe. I guess it could also be that it wasn't a threat
definitely part
or
of it. Like, I think that's...
Yeah,
but I think that's why it doesn't kill the... Like, that's why it uses the cat that way.
Yeah, it's
because
actually
well, you're not going to do shit to me anyway. I'll just follow you around and then we'll... I'll strike.
Wow. Wow. And then, it always loves to... the crazy thing is that it's like... Its camouflage is technology a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's like it hides in the tubes and chains and I don't know all the
part when it's just taking a nap on the shuttle at the end kills me, dude.
Bro's just so tired. He was all tuckered out.
Eepy. Yeah,
so like too much sexual assault for one day, and then you had to just kind of take a nap. Like, what is it? Like, it's. I mean, I guess.
Well, and it's clearly pretty fucking smart. It got on the escape shuttle.
That's true. Yeah, it's like maybe it thought that Ripley would realize, well, like, what the fuck do I actually do? Maybe it was just like, well, I'll go in the pod, or I don't know, and maybe, I don't know, like, it was just kind of like, well, it thought it had checkmate over Ripley a little bit of, like, just being in the escape pod, but,
Right.
yeah, it I don't know, just kind of falling asleep, or just laying in there, though, was kind of crazy, but I love that it is kind of, like, technology based, even though it is I don't know, it's like
even though it is organic, it's got that sleek
in the
piping sort of feel.
Is it is it just a really big skull, or is it a really big brain, or both? Is it like a really big helmet to protect its body, or is its brain mega? I want to see the xenomorph cross section. Is what I'm interested in.
You can look up a xenomorph skull. There's one that appears in Predator 2.
Xenomorph skull. I just didn't. I guess I don't know if it was like spoil. I would look up
Xenomorph skull Predator 2 specifically.
Xenomorph skull Predator 2.
Yeah, the Predator in Predator 2 has like a trophy room, and one of them is a xenomorph skull.
Yes, so much more skull than brain, or at least it could be.
It could be protecting something in there,
Could be. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, there's a better picture of it. Oh, it's a big brain. They're really thinking. They're really smart. That's
they're thinking about something in there. Yeah.
They're I don't know. They cooking up there, but yeah, this at least the company, I don't know. The company, if everything were to go correctly to Ash's plans, that's what I'm wondering, if, like, what was the actual goal of this? Like, this ship would be completely taken over and headed back to Earth? Is that the, like...
Yeah, like, it's automatically piloted to
That's
Earth. That's
crazy. That is crazy. It's like, they do just want to impregnate Earth a little bit, is like, it seems like the goal. But... And I don't know if they're thinking that far into the future with all of these things, or if they just needed it was just a great ass story that has a company and greed and anti-capitalist built in with that. It doesn't need to go any further, but it does feel like kind of that is the goal. That's Ash he's twisted in that way. He has this kind of sexual nature to him as well, and it feels like it's programmed kind of in from the company's ultimate goal of like bringing them back to Earth or something, or maybe even the company just views them as more of a perfect being, which, oh my god, there was some billionaire who was just recently interviewed and asked just the simple question, like an AI, some guy who's super high up in AI, and he was just asked the question straight up: do you want the human race to last? Do you want it to keep going? And he couldn't answer the question. He was like, he couldn't say yes. He was going to say no, and he kept hesitating. He hesitated. He's like, well, do I want to? Do I want the human race to continue? Like, it's crazy that there are, people with the mindset to even hesitate of that question.
Right,
to be like,
right.
To kind of be like, let me think about that for a second. But then it's like, with this, it's like, this to the ultimate degree. Like, it's like I feel like this is, I don't even know what year, 21 something, it's well kind of in the future. And I feel like it's all of these things that we're kind of going through in the small scale now, but kind of just ramped up to maximum of like a trusting, mother, and, how much of it is mother versus the company. I don't know, all of these things. But that's why, like, even... It just got my brain going a whole lot more this watch, of thinking of all these things and the sexual nature. I can't believe I didn't really pick up on like it was a literal like vagina door that they were crawling in, and I mean it was kind of nuts that I didn't pick up on that kind of stuff before.
And the space jockey is sitting on a giant dick gun.
Yeah, that's like, what the fuck is I mean, the ship. It's just that they did crawl into like a womb, like, I mean, just shit ton of eggs of face crawlers. Yeah. So like,
I mean, like the like placenta is the like shield above it, like it's a yes, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Ooh. Is the ship not even a ship? Am I looking at like the grandest form? I don't know how it's like that. I've actually like kind of stayed away from.
Is this Nope?
Yeah.
Is this Nope type shit?
Yeah. A crazy. It's not a ship. It is the creature. Thing.
It is the creature.
Yeah. I've been. I don't know. I'm not going full Twin Peaks lockdown mode for not getting anything spoiled for this one, but I'm trying my best. Right. I feel like to keep it all contained.
When it comes to spoiling stuff, like I would try to steer clear of. I mean, it's more how they do it as opposed what it is. You know, it's not like, oh well, this character dies, you don't need to know that. You know, like or this happens, you shouldn't see that. You know, like it's just kind of it is more a how we get there that is most fascinating, which is why Prometheus and Covenant in particular, you've asked a lot of questions that those two movies directly address.
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is why. Okay, I'm seeing more and more as I get closer and closer to Prometheus. Why I think I'll take a liking to it. But yeah, different. Even though I think that'll be much more of a me kind of movie. This just has so many more raw movie making things that are kind. I don't know.
And it's also like, there's a timelessness to it that's really impressive.
70.
It hasn't aged much.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's parts of the effects work that's dated a little bit, but that's just it was made in the late 70s. It's just kind of how it's going to be. Impressively, this movie has not gotten the revamping treatment that like Star Wars has.
Yeah.
You know, like we watch this movie now as it was made. It was not like this isn't a special edition that we're watching. It got cleaned up in the late 90s or whatever. No, like this is just
kind of
what the movie looks like
a little bit. You know, not to dog on Star Wars, but hey, I mean, if you can just release the original material and it stands up to
the test
now,
of time, like it's good shit, man. You know, and you know, got to give Star Wars the credit where it's due. Ridley Scott dropped everything he was working on the second he saw Star Wars and started making this.
I mean, yeah, the opening shot is the underneath of the spaceship slowly crawling over.
It's literally a Star Wars reference. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was kind of cool to see all that. And recently I've just been picking up a lot more on set design, and holy shit was the set design and just caught any design,
holy
anything.
Shit,
in this movie was it on 10.
Incredible. There's matte painting, like the part whenever Kane is like descending into the egg room, the womb, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's like the scale is just absurd.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a combination of physical set and matte painting, which is very, very cool. Which is why it looks so fucking massive. They do a lot of stuff to emphasize the scale, like that part where they are climbing into the tomb, climbing into the two like vaginal doors.
Yes.
From the moment they get off their ship and like walk by the legs of it and everything, it's Kane, Dallas, and Lambert, I believe, who go on there. It's actually 3 kids in small spacesuits to make everything look bigger.
Like children. Oh wow, they just put
small children.
Oh wow. I guess. Yeah. How would you know? I guess there's no way.
It's Ridley. It's Ridley Scott's 2 sons and the cameraman's son, and they're all just walking up. Like whenever they're like climbing up to the doors, it's funny because it's like I didn't know they were kids until Ridley Scott said that once upon a time.
Oh, can
There's
you
a
tell?
part whenever one of them like crawls up to the door, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're a child.
It's like that's not an adult crawling up. Yeah, wow, that's kind of funny.
And awesome. And like it doesn't change anything much at all. Like it is like a climb, so it makes sense that they're kind of on hands and knees a little bit when they get to the top, but like. With the context that they are kids, it is kind of funny.
That's awesome. Wow.
But yeah, so like they're half the size of grown people. So like it's crazy how much that would affect the scale of it. It's like if they were twice as tall.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like
yeah, that's just sells the shot so much more.
Oh, yeah, like crazy. And that was what was really cool about listening to the director's commentary is like whenever they're descending into the atmosphere or ascending off of the planet and they're all like shaking, like the ship shaking. That's just Ridley Scott shaking a camera in front of them and the actors just bouncing around while they deliver their lines. You know, like, and he said, and actually on this one, we just had 2 stuntmen just shake their seats. You know,
Wow.
and he's like, yeah, you know, like some stuff, it's just like if it works, it works. You know, like that's just kind of how it's gonna be.
Man, I love that. Like it feels like Babylon harps on that a whole lot of like before sound was a thing, you just made anything work visually that it just had to work and it didn't matter. It could be chaotic. All the sets were kind of wild and things were just kind of spur of the moment, it kind of seemed. And whenever we made the switch to, I don't know, how we make movies, it feels like we've lost that still though. Like that the movies with, you know, like this example here, where it does seem that things were just kind of like, well, it kind of works for the movie even more. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It feels like it looks like they just legitimately used just gross I don't know, like just gross shit for the actual practical stuff. And it's like, why not? Why not just use like, I don't know.
There's a few good examples of that. Like when the egg opens and you see into it.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott sent somebody to the meat market that morning and came back with like literal raw beef, and that's what you're seeing in there is like a cut of cow. Whenever they're dissecting the face hugger and it's, you know, it's laying on its back and Ash is poking around in it, it's oysters and clams. Like that's what you're seeing, just kind of all layered and shit.
I bet that smelled great. Yeah. Well, I wonder watching it back if you can see on their faces if they're just like this shit's. Yeah. Well, it kind of works. I mean, it works both ways. Like I don't know.
It's gonna be nasty no matter what. Yeah.
I mean, just. Whatever it feels, you know, it's just less of, well, we'll fix it in post. It's like, well, no, well, actually, we're doing it now. Like we are finding the solution and getting it on film, like before it is even thought of fixed post production. And you know,
it was funny listening to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say they obviously have like visual or like post production ish shots where they're, you know, doing miniatures or bigger, grander things, but it's still very practical, even whenever it is like they're thinking of the version of
doing it in post used to be like, well, we'll film a miniature against a matte painting, which is like that's still incredibly physical, you know, like that's
you have to think of the post-production while you're filming, actually, instead of just being like, well, we'll solve it later. So it's like, I don't know, all the work has to be done anyways. But yeah, it's just impressive either way. Like back then, it's more impressive.
Oh yeah, it's ludicrously cool. And like you were speaking to the set design, one of my favorite sequences in the movie is those first like 3 minutes before they wake up. Whenever we are just kind of. They're setting the stage, you know, they're showing us the ship, and it almost feels haunted. You know, you got Jerry Goldsmith's music kind of playing over it, and then we get to that part in like the communal room where the like little chicken's sitting on the table, and it's sitting still, and then it starts to move. You know, like there's there's almost something haunted about what's going on, and then the doors open, and you know, like it's just so you can get in there and you can see, but like in the context of the movie, what's happening there, I don't understand why the door opens. You know, like there's a cool foreboding nature about that whole sequence that lets you know that you need to be on the edge of your seat. And I like whenever a movie can just immediately set the tone that way. Just know like this is the way things have to be. This is the way we have to set the tone. And a lot of that I do think is owed to Jerry Goldsmith's score. I think you know, what's really cool about this movie is that the chest burster scene doesn't happen until like halfway through the movie, or like close to it anyway. And then the movie gets all the more claustrophobic after that. It's so grand and massive at the beginning. Like the scale is so much bigger, and then every room in the last half of the movie feels like it's closing in on you.
I didn't quite notice that. I don't know. That's totally right. I don't know, just the feeling of it can be around any corner. You just never know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You go around any corner, it's going to be right there. And most of the time it is like just waiting above them or in the wall or like, I don't know. It's toying with them. But yeah,
whenever
even before
Ripley is running through the ship at the end with Jones, and she's running around the corner, and the lights are flashing, strobing on her, and then she like peeks around the corner, it's there, and then she like tilts her head to the side, and she's like breathing real heavy. She's like, I love that stuff, man. That's That's one of the most visually appealing sequences in the movie, and a very visually appealing movie. I think this is just gorgeous. And it was cool listening to Ridley Scott kind of talk about it, because Ridley Scott is a notoriously confident filmmaker. When he makes a movie, he's making a movie he's going to be proud of. You know, like that's something he wants. He's setting out to do. But he's also he's self-critical for sure. But it was funny listening to him talk about Alien and kind of being like, yeah, we kind of killed this, huh? He was like, yeah, man, this is a good movie, you know. He said it's definitely one of the better looking movies I ever did. You know, like he's like, I think that this is, and he's really good about spreading the praise. You know, he talked about how the actors, like, if you have a good team of actors, a great cast, they will solve 50% of your problems. Like they will come up with ideas that you cannot. They will figure out things that you can't figure out. If you have a good team of actors, there are things that they will be able to do that you would never be able to do on your own. And he was like, you expressly talking about Ian Holm was cool because he talked a lot about Ian Holm and how he was able to kind of craft the character Ash a lot on his own versus what was on the page. Wow, like that little running bit. That's all Ian Holm. He decided he was going to do that. There's a lot of there's a sequence in the middle of the movie whenever Ripley kind of confronts him about letting the facehugger on board, letting them back on board. You know, there's like that weird tension that's between Ash and Ripley the whole time, where Ripley never really trusts him. He doesn't like her. It's a whole thing. And you know, she's like, well, that doesn't really jive with me. There's that whole sequence we stick on Ash the whole time. We are sitting with Ash as he tries to explain himself, and he's never making eye contact with Ripley. Ripley's not even really in the shot. She's off to the side. And then she says a line like, well, that's an awful odd decision for the science officer to make, or something like that. And that's the only time it cuts to her, when she like reclaims the power in the situation. She's like, yeah, well, that doesn't make sense. You know, like she when she gets critical, she starts being the boss. Like it's there's just a lot of really, really great editing and visual choices. And I think that when it comes to a movie like this, I have a tough time even perceiving flaw. I have no complaints about the movie, which is, and I mean that genuinely. Usually I can be like, well, there is this that like could be better. Maybe I'm sure there is. You know, I'm sure there is. I'm blind to it. You know, like I can't see it. I do not see.
I think it has, you know, 50% of the problems with the crew and actor, and then it's just when you have sets that look like that, no matter what angle you set the camera up, and you're just with the lighting they have, the fog, the atmosphere that they just set up. It's like there was one shot of, and you know, the tension is high. They're on the hunt to actually try to capture the facehugger there, and but they actually find Jonesy instead. But it's right before they find Jonesy.
When the light's pouring in through the door.
Oh my God. The camera's just there for like 30 seconds. I don't know. They just leave it there. And they just walk in the room super slow. And it's just a long ass shot of just the light all being there. And it's like, that's all they had to do was walk into the room and look at every angle and act a little afraid. You know, there could be a face
and that was actually explicitly one of the scenes and shots that Ridley Scott, when he was commentarying the movie, was he goes, and when you have sets like even sets like this storage room are gorgeous, you know, like there's just he was always really, he expressed a lot of gratitude to like the stagecraft and the people who built the sets and everything. And it's just, I mean, it's gorgeous. It is a beautiful, beautiful movie. And that is one of the best looking sequences. Like one of the best shots in the movie is the shot of the cat's face whenever Brett gets killed, and it like zooms in on Jones kind of watching it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's like, maybe there was something more to the cat. Like, maybe the xenomorph fucking, I don't know. They spoke, you know. They have an understanding. The cat was like, hey, I want to watch that. I will lure that dude in for you if I just get to watch him die. I kind of have this weird thing with cats. They're really cute, and they are good pets, but I do think that there's this deep down, I don't know. There's something more to them that I don't understand.
You think there's something to the Flerken idea?
Flerken? I guess possibly. I don't know about Flerken. Whole that. More just like a deeper rooted evil, not evil, but like a dog. I don't know. Dogs became man's best friend naturally through literal nature. But cats have always just been on the sidelines. They never had a mutual beneficial relationship. So I don't know. It feels like they're more just manipulative rather than the unconditional dog love that is there. There's always something to a cat. They got something more going on behind their eyes. And they just, I don't know. Egypt has this connection. They're just ancient, and dogs aren't. Dogs used to be wolves. That's the ancient animal. But a cat is actually ancient. So it's like, I don't know. They've just been cooking for a whole lot longer. And I think there's, I don't know, something to a cat. But not, I don't know, Jonesy, I guess. Yeah, I didn't view Jonesy as like an evil, I don't know, I'm not.
No.
I don't want to.
Well, and it's probably Ripley's only true relationship on the ship. She actually cares about Jones a lot.
That's true.
She goes back for Jones. She's ready to go, and she's like, shit, Jonesy. And then she goes back onto the ship to find the fucking cat.
Jonesy's in the pod. Wait, does Jonesy wake up 50 years later? Is Jonesy in Aliens? I guess I didn't even think of
Jonesy is in Aliens briefly, but she is left behind at the station before they take off. Jones is safe. Jones is cool.
We're good. It does look like the is it not like, is the Flerken that is in Marvel, is this like the same looking cat?
Yeah, it's I think the cat's look in Captain Marvel is expressly inspired by Jones.
It feels like a nod, at least now.
It almost certainly is. The cat's name is Goose, which is a reference to Top Gun, of course, but
there's someone who was in Top Gun in this cast that I was looking through. I forgot who it was, but I'm like, what? They were in Top Gun?
Tom Skerritt, probably. I think Tom Skerritt was in Top Gun.
Yes. He was in MASH as well. Oh wow. Duke Forrest in MASH. I forget MASH, I guess, but that was such a long time ago to watch that. But yeah, Viper in Top Gun.
Yep.
Let's see. It's been a while for Top Gun as well. I don't know Viper, I guess, or I don't remember him.
He's one of the pilots. Is basically all that means.
But okay. But wow, okay. But I guess I forgot.
I mean, John Hurt plays Kane. Love me some John Hurt. Don't feel like we gave him enough love because he is so talented.
Yeah, he was the main character at the beginning of the movie. Like, you're believed to be that it's like, we're following this guy. Like, he's the main dude. And then I feel like it makes whenever I came into the movie, even the first viewing, I knew Sigourney Weaver was actually the main character just because of her prowess and just she is the franchise, and
she's the face of the franchise. Yeah.
And so even though that they present John Hurt as the main character and following him, you're kind of supposed to follow him a little bit.
He's the first one who wakes up and everything, and yeah,
but it's kind of quickly I don't know, Sigourney Weaver just whether through the script or just her own prowess, I don't know, or just her own presence just kind of takes over anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, no, she definitely steals the show, but yeah, John Hurt, I mean, he would be in The Elephant Man the next year, David Lynch film in 1980. He played The Elephant Man.
Okay, I gotta see.
Which is good. He was in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He was the professor who kind of loses his mind and can't speak. He can only write in that weird code. That's him. He was in V for Vendetta.
No way.
Yeah, he was. I feel like he was
He's V. I don't. Probably
no.
Not
That's Hugo Weaving. But he's like the fascist.
Oh,
he's like the fascist.
Damn.
In
that sucks.
That sucks. He was the fascist in that movie expressly because he was in the movie adaptation of 1984, where I believe he was the guy who fought the fascists. So it was kind of this fun little, mirror.
Well, I guess if you're playing a fascist in a purely anti-fascist movie, then you yourself are likely anti-fascist. No way.
It's definitely possible. Mark Ruffalo and Mickey 17.
Yes.
that guy's not a white supremacist who's ready to colonize anything.
I hope not.
Mark Ruffalo, if he is, he's really committing to a bit where he is expressly against that and very vocally. Because if there was ever a time where you could be honest about wanting that sort of thing, it's now.
That's true. I mean, yeah, it's but no, yeah, I do think Mark Ruffalo's just plain, yeah, I don't know,
but John Hurt is what I was who I was on about. I just really adore his portrayal of Kane, and even though it is brief, it's also not the last movie he's in where an alien bursts out of his chest, which is which is cool.
Dude gets it again.
But he's actually playing John Hurt in that one, and it's in Spaceballs.
That's okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's the bit at the end of Spaceballs wherever the alien pops out of his chest and goes, "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey," and like dances off of the screen. That's that is expressly John Hurt coming back to reprise this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Wow. I mean, yeah, because quite the moment. I'd say in the theater. Holy shit. Was he, I guess before this movie, was he kind of like a big deal? Like, was he the actor?
I wouldn't say he was a big deal, but he was, he'd been around. He was, he'd been acting for a long time.
In Lord of the Rings? In 1970. Right before this, he was the voice of Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
The animated version?
I guess so. So, I guess maybe... I don't know how big that animated thing was, but that's at least the only thing that looks big before. I mean, it's right before Alien, but I don't really... Midnight Express, I mean, that kind of sounds familiar. I don't know. But yeah,
I was in A Man for All Seasons, which was a pretty big deal.
He looks like quite the working actor. I don't know, from freaking 62 to I don't know what. Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. So I guess he was just in a lot. I don't know, but Sigourney
he was
Weaver,
a solid working actor. This probably did kind of elevate him to a different status, though, is where my money's at.
But this was like, or did Sigourney have anything before this, or was this like her first big?
Sigourney Weaver. This was a breakthrough for Sigourney Weaver. Yeah.
So I guess like people would have thought John Hurt was the actual big talent versus Sigourney. Like if you were to watch this in when it came out in theaters, that you would have thought like the main character of being John Hurt is much more believable than
Well, and also Sigourney. Not to mention that it is in a she's a woman, so there's automatically he's the first one to wake up. He's the first person we set our eyes on. You do assume this is going to be the main character, and watching this movie knowing Sigourney Weaver is the heart of the franchise, she doesn't feel like the main character until pretty close to halfway through the movie. You know, like it's
the alien pops out of his chest, like whenever John Hurt dies, he has to kind of die.
You could make the argument that whenever she goes, "No, you guys need to quarantine," like there's a little bit of there's an individualism that is on display that you're like, "Oh, cool, like I do like her." Or, I'm sure there were people in 1979 who were like, "Oh, come on. Like quit being such a woman about it," but no,
no, Sigourney Weaver, just, oh my God, this is
dude.
She's something, and also just is this? I've heard the Bush that she
urban legend.
Oh, so it's not actually okay? Because I was wondering.
It's not true. It is an urban legend. The urban legend, for those who do not know, is that that Ridley Scott and the crew for Alien, they were gonna have her shave her bush in the last scene where she's in nothing but a tank top and panties.
Yes.
But she refused. She didn't want to because she's a feminist icon and such. Which is fair. That's a fair assessment of Sigourney Weaver.
Gotta keep the bush. But damn.
Yeah, gotta keep the bush. But no, that is not true. Sadly.
She did shave the bush.
It'd be pretty.
So
I don't even know that. I don't even know
was
that
the bush even
to.
there?
I don't even think that was part of the. I don't even know that was part of the deal. I think it's just become it got a life of its own. It's kind of like the whole. I mean, to a much smaller degree, Heath Ledger killed himself because he played Joker, sort of thing.
I see.
Which is just not true.
I think I even heard that they painted out, like they did some visual effect.
Yeah, like visual effects. They airbrushed it out. Yeah.
In 79, you're telling me they roto-brushed a bush out? No, I don't know if that's actually possible quite yet. But no, that, like, I mean, for one, those, like, wow. I mean, a space underwear, they give you nothing. You know, that is
they're
barely a piece of fabric.
Well, that was actually something that Ridley Scott talked about at the beginning of the movie. Whenever they all wake up, he shot a version of it where they were all butt ass naked.
Damn.
Because he was like that's what it would be like. He's like, they wouldn't have clothes on, so he's like, but he was like, I wanted it to be that cut, but I lost that fight. He's like, for obvious reasons, I lost that fight. He's like, I don't really have any issue with it. It's just that I thought that would be how it should be.
Yeah, it is kind of like they're being born, or like they are in an incubator, or like they are in an egg.
That's exactly the point.
Like
that's exactly what he wanted. Is that it's supposed to be a birth. He actually referred to them as 7 babies whenever they woke up.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like a baby. Yeah, it's the company knows, dude. They want them to get these like little humans get infected with facehuggers to birth xenomorphs. Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense why Alien Earth, it happens before this, you know.
Right.
The company fucking knows, and it makes them even more evil, which is better. You know, so like if they didn't know and it was hubris, it is evil and it sucks. But it's more evil if they do know and it is still hubris and they are wanting to.
Yeah, I think it's like it's all of the above. You know, like they are the ironically real life version of the xenomorphs. They are the perfect killing machine.
Yup. True.
You know, it's
the unseen.
It's just kind of how it goes.
The ones actually controlling the xenomorph army a little bit, not really. Like
that'd be that's their goal anyway. You know, like
that
is why they want them as military. There's really no other reason they want them.
Yeah. I mean, because God. Damn. Yeah, these Alien vs. Predator movies are gonna. I don't think I've ever seen one, which is crazy.
They're fun, dude. They're a lot of fun.
That would be awesome.
They completely. There is no connection to anything alien.
That's even
they
better.
are more Predator movies than they are Alien movies because even with villains like the Predator, the Predators are the good guys.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, xenomorphs don't have a conscience. You know, like it's just I'm going to kill everything I can.
Yeah.
The Predators are like I've got to fucking kill this guy.
Like,
you know?
I'm not the apex predator anymore. It's like, oh my god, what is this?
That's part of the whole Predator thing is that they're like they want to prove that they are. You know, they're like
that's true. They
cook,
have
you know?
to.
Like,
so they both want to just murder each other as hard as possible. Yeah, that's awesome. That is just because this concept, awesome. I guess this alien concept, the fact that it wasn't some long, I don't know, franchise of books before or some saga of, I don't know. It was just like, hey, this is a cool idea for an alien, you know?
And or even like a pulp comic strip from like the 40s.
Yeah, it's not like a Frankenstein or I don't know. It's not like a long known story of this alien, but it's like it's crafted in such this cool way where whether they knew it or not, it births this, I don't know, this world of possibilities of like
it feels foundational. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know. So yeah, this it makes sense that it stemmed into a franchise, and it helps whenever the first movie of the franchise is this good. It is kind of like a Mission Impossible, where the first movie, even though 6 is holy fuck, 1 is still on a different level in like the filmmaking and the time it came out and just kind of in its own shell.
A timelessness, you know, like that is the classic or a classic anyway, you know, because you could absolutely make the argument that Aliens is also a classic. But for wildly different reasons, which it again does make it very comparable to the Mission Impossible franchise, where you're like, they helmed by a new director, it's a new vision, it's a new vibe, and they're acting in the same world. Like I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and yeah, we are dealing with a franchise here for me where we peak early. You know, we do hit the highest points here. We're gonna take a little break. And then we're going to hit the highest points at the end, and then we're going to take another little break. That's kind of how I look at it. And it's whenever it came to Mission Impossible, it was like I had the tier system where I was like these two, these two, these two, and these two. Yep. You know, like that was how I kind of paired them off. For me, it's this. and then
all
the rest of them.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Like aliens at the tippy top of the pyramid, and then
and then we can work on the others from there because, and I'm excited to view them again with talking about them in mind because it did allow me to reevaluate the Mission Impossible franchise a little bit whenever we talked about it. So I'm excited to revisit Prometheus and Covenant, which I have not watched but once. Aliens I've seen a couple times. Alien 3 and Resurrection I've only watched once. Romulus I only watched in the theater. So like everything besides this and Aliens I've seen once, which is a lot of fun. And my first watch of this was actually in a movie theater last year.
Damn, I'm jealous of that.
Got very lucky. Saw Challengers the next day actually.
Damn, that's a back-to-back. That's two.
Yeah,
good, in theater or just you watch it
in theater.
Man, yeah, that's a great back-to-back.
Yeah, they were celebrating the 45th anniversary of Alien last year, which is why it was in theaters. So, we'll catch it for the 50th, 2029, baby, if we're still around.
True. We got to make it there. We got to have the EMP and the not go off. We got to have the technology still alive.
Yeah, we got to have it all out.
But it will
whenever there's a part in this movie where it says like interface 2037.
2037. Uh-oh.
And I was like 2037. We're going to get there? Really?
That's true. Actually,
that's possible?
Well within our lifetime. Actually, it should happen.
The amount of time it'll take me to get to 2037 is the amount of time it's been since I was 13.
Fuck. Yeah, like the time. I mean, like you just double your lifespan. Like I'm already at 2050. Like by the time I'm, that's kind of crazy. If I just live again,
and like that's a real year. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
2050? That is out of a sci-fi book. But
that is out of a sci-fi book. Well, 2020 was also, like 2020 was like
we'd have flying cars and I don't know, and everything could be figured out in Utopia by 2020. But
I'm curious what year Alien is set in.
Let's see. What year?
2122.
Okay, so yeah,
so 100 years in the future.
We got a whole other generation, a whole lot of.
We got a ways to go.
Actually.
We got a ways to go.
I mean, but that's only like two people. I don't know.
Pretty wild.
Like 2 human lifespans, and then we're here, which maybe we're actually. That's not that unreal. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's really weird to think of how far we will get. How we'll be able to go to any other planet by any time soon. I don't know. But that once that happens, that's just such a change that is like we will have this as a possibility. Who knows if an alien species is out there that can actually bleed acid and kill us perfectly and I don't know. It's like not a good possibility, not a good door to open.
Well, and also like we're going back to like not just lore, but kind of like in-universe implication is that like what kind of people, like who are Weyland-Yutani hiring for missions like this? Like I'm assuming none of them have families to go home to. Like are they preying on people? Yeah,
Mickey
Expendables,
17s, but just actually they don't come back to life. They're just expendable
like
one
that.
time expendable.
You're going to sleep for a couple years.
Yeah.
If you have kids, they're going to be 4 years older when you come back.
Totally. Oh fuck. That's true. Did Ripley? I don't remember because the Newt. That's not her kid.
No, they find Newt. They find Newt.
But is it? I feel like I don't know. Was it even brought up in this movie? Did they? No, I don't know. It feels.
No, they don't touch. They don't touch on any of that. In this movie.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, if she's sleeping for 50 years, that's a.
Yeah, if she had a life to go back to, it's gone. Yeah.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's space travel. I don't know. That's why, I kind of hope cryosleep just isn't even a thing until I'm dead. I don't even want the option to think about it, like the to have that option to just fast forward time. That's I don't want to have to grapple with that decision.
I don't want it. I don't want no Futurama shit. I don't want to like go into a tube and then like accidentally sleep for 100 years.
Yeah,
you know?
you wake up. Yeah, you're fucking in the mega future, and then you just have absolutely nothing.
And as a former pizza delivery guy, that awoke a specific fear for me.
Dang. That's what he was in his human life before.
Yeah, he was delivering pizza.
Oh,
he was delivering to an address where nobody was, and then he got tripped and fell into a cryo sleep chamber and slept for his whole life.
Wow, that show's so. I need to rewatch Futurama.
Dude, I love Futurama. It's so fucking funny.
But man, all this to say, I guess, like, it's crazy that there isn't a book that this is based on. This was just like let's fucking make a movie. You know, let's do it. And they just...
Thank fucking God they did, because this is... I mean, like I said, I'm not exaggerating when I call this a top 5 favorite movie of mine.
That's...
Like, and I can't usually confidently go, you know, usually I'll be like, it's top 100, you know, like, and that's, if you're top 100, you're making a good movie, you know?
Yep.
I'm confidently asserting that this is a top 5 favorite movie I've ever watched.
Yeah,
it's just that for me. I love it. I love it so much. And when I saw it in the movie theater last year for the first time, by the way. So like it's not like I have a long spanning relationship with this movie. It's something that's relatively new. Like I saw Aliens first also, and then I watched this and I was like, oh.
It's like me with
phone.
Tron Legacy in the first one. It's like, wait a minute. Why didn't I know that the first one was actually just so much better?
Gas. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it at least got me to look at my Letterboxd list of my favorite movies, and I haven't really touched it in a couple months or so, and just realizing how different it actually is, like looking back at where everything is placed.
Oh, it's so, like, it just...
But
maintaining a favorate movies ever list is just so...
That is tough.
It's an ever-changing tapestry, man. Like, that is going to evolve.
Yeah. Because I don't know how
we might be approaching a time where we need to revisit that subject. I know we did... Shit, when did we do our top 100 ever?
Top 100? Was that I feel like it was a January... Was it a January thing? I don't know why January...
We did a top 100 of the 20s this year. We've done a top 100 favorite movies ever list.
That's okay. So yes, I don't know,
which wouldn't even look at all like the one that I published.
Yeah. Very, very different. Which I don't know. It's nice. Top 100 movies. This was August 2023. Was the start of the release of it, at least. So. That would have been,
we're coming up on 2 years ago. God damn. Okay.
Very different list, but that's for sure.
I think at the time we were like, we'll revisit this in like 2025. So maybe there's something.
Here we go.
Maybe that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Regardless, I love this movie. It's like I said, one of my favorites ever. It's all downhill from here. No, I'm just kidding. It's all. Again,
true.
I love the franchise dearly. We've hit, like I said, one of my 5 favorite movies of all time. So we're peaking early for me, but there's still so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to explore the Alien franchise with you, my friend. So,
yes. Oh, I'm very ready.
I think with that, I can do the plugs, and then we will rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10. Spoilers, it's going to be easy.
Yes, it's already in the box.
We are going to go. Yeah, it's already there. It's already a 10. But we'll really officially discuss that after the plugs here. If you would leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening, you can find the Cinementalists on YouTube. CineMentalists. Just go ahead and look it up. We don't have video at the moment, but you can if your preferred listening option is YouTube. It's there. I've recently started uploading this stuff to my Substack. Colton Robertson, and I've actually got it as my Substack is the Cinementalists, like apostrophe S, the Cinementalists, like I'm the Cinementalist, and this is mine. It is the Cinementalists. I use the possessive Cinementalists as opposed to the plural for us Cinementalists. So it's all very clever. Writing, language and such. I love it. But Yeah, so along with writing a bunch of reviews like I'm doing over there, I'm also releasing our movie podcast episodes. So this will be out available there. You can subscribe to my Substack, which would be a huge help. Look up Colton Robertson. Look up the Cinementalists with an apostrophe between the T and the S at the end there. I'm trying to make the Kansas City Film Critics Circle within the next year, maybe within the next 2. But the way that I do that is by getting a lot of eyes on my work. I need a lot of eyes on my work, and it's going really well right now. I just don't want to plateau. I want to keep it going, and I want you guys to go ahead and check that out. I'm very proud of the work I do over there. And I recently did something called the June Film Factorial. Credit to Joe for the name there, where I did an article on 15 movies that I watched in June. 1 movie that I wish I liked more, 2 movies that I watched on an airplane, 3 movies that I watched for family movie night, 4 movies that I'm glad I rewatched, and 5 movies I'm glad I watched for the first time. So that's my most recent article over there, and I should be getting something out this week. My goal is to do something weekly, so you should go ahead and check that out. Let's see. We're also doing Twin Peaks Fire Pod with me. Twin Peaks podcast for later the first-time viewer and the rewatcher alike. Share it with whoever has seen Twin Peaks or needs to watch Twin Peaks, which happens to be everybody. So go ahead and share it with everybody. Like I said, friendly the first-time viewer and rewatcher alike. I'm the rewatcher. Joe's the first-time viewer. You have to watch up to the episode we are currently covering, but we will not talk about anything that happens later because, like I said, Joe hasn't seen it. So, Twin Peaks, if you've never watched it, now's the time. Go ahead and commit. We're only a couple months away from finishing season 2. Then we will be covering Fire Walk with Me, and then we'll be covering The Return. So, you get a little Harry Dean Stanton if you're a big fan of Alien there. So,
yeah. There we go.
Look forward to that.
Peaks connection. That's nice.
Got a little Peaks connection. You like that? Geek with Me. That is why we are doing the Alien franchise right now, is because on Geek With Me, we do intend on covering Alien Earth, which will be in August. So in the meantime, you should stick with us through July because we'll be covering Superman over there and the Fantastic Four movie, which are coming out this month. Superman comes out next week, which is wild that we're here.
God.
I cannot wait. Time flies when you're having fun, baby, and I'm having a lot of it, so I'm ready for some Superman. We'll be covering that on Geek With Me, Fantastic Four on Geek With Me, and then Alien Earth on Geek With Me, and that's at least. There's no telling what we might do in between. That's just the guaranteed stuff. So that's Geek With Me, Fire Pod with me, and the Cinementalist. So got a lot of fun stuff, and it's all available to you wherever. But yeah, Substack, Colton Robertson, look it up. I would appreciate it greatly. That's just a personal favor. You don't have to pay to subscribe. It's free. It just puts a lot more eyes on my work, and I would really appreciate it. So you can pay to subscribe. That's also fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You absolutely can. You just don't have to. So there's that. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and rate Alien 10.
Yup, it's pretty easy. It's just kind of a franchise establisher, the gold standard that we can compare to every time we come or watch a new movie. So yeah, I think it's a pretty easy here to go back to the. It's just a nice 10 collection. You know, it'll be nice to once the year is over to kind of have just the ones that made it out. You know, the ones that are just the clear, undoubted 10s of
the ones that are a cut above. No, and this is it is a 10. It's one of the greatest movies ever made for me, and I love it. So Alien out of 10. I don't feel like we have to say much more, but
not until next week, until we get the lady to return to wake up 50 years later.
I cannot wait.
There we go.
I cannot wait. But with that, I think we will conclude this episode of The Cinementalists. Like I said, leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. And thank you very much for joining us. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, homie.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, this is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.
Damn.